Hi everyone, this is Jo Smart from Fi Angels. It's Friday the 16th of July 2021 and as promised I'm here to do the video on energy vampires, empaths and energy vampires. I'm going to call this Joey the Energy Vampire Slayer. Get it? Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Joey the Energy Vampire Slayer? I was never really a Buffy fan. I don't think I ever watched it. I was more of an X-Files girl, but hey, it's a fun title. But whilst it's a fun title, this is a really serious subject and quite a complicated subject. And the last couple of days, because I've thought about this weekend I would do the video, my spiritual support team have been planting so many messages and so much information in my head. It's all rolling around. So I've just set the intention that they'll help me articulate it in an understandable way. And that's why I'm doing it on Friday instead of Saturday or Sunday, because I need to get it out of my head and over to you so that I can concentrate on everything else. But that means this is probably going to be a long one. So if you need to pause this and go make yourself a cuppa, make yourself comfortable, then do it because you need to concentrate on this video. So, empaths and energy vampires. Why am I doing this video? I feel really called to do this. A couple of people have mentioned it to me about kind of how you identify someone who's an energy vampire, how you identify yourself as an empath. But also I've seen a lot of traffic about it on social media, and I've also had people come to me for readings who have been in and had experience of quite negative relationships and experiences with energy vampires. Now, most of us as light workers are on the spectrum of empaths, and it's quite a big spectrum. And what that means is, you know, look, most people have empathy. Empathy is, I can understand how you feel, I can put myself in your shoes and understand what you're going through. Being an empath is a next level to that. It's, I feel how you feel. I am in your shoes. So empaths, what happens to us is, if we see somebody laughing, we might not know what they're laughing about, but we feel like laughing with them. So we pick up on that really positive vibe and energy, we feel it, and we giggle along with them, even though we haven't got a clue what they're laughing about, or we don't get the joke. On the flip side of that, if somebody starts to tear up in front of you, then you also feel like tearing up, you also well up, because you're feeling what they're feeling. You can walk into a room and feel the energy. So whether that's because there's been a recent argument in that room, or somebody's had a difficult conversation in that room, somebody's been sick and poorly in that room, you can really feel it. Also, if you walk into a room that's recently had a really happy experience, you can feel that energy lifting you up. That's what it is to be an empath, and it's a real gift. But it comes with some challenges that we need to be able to overcome in order to serve our purpose in a way that serves us. One of those challenges is that we are lighthouses to energy vampires. And I'm going to move on to what an energy vampire is in a minute. I put them into 3 categories. So the reason we are lighthouses is because it's been scientifically proven that positive thoughts have a higher energetic frequency than negative thoughts. So let that sink in for a minute. Your thoughts have a frequency. Your thoughts can be traced energetically and measured energetically. And as light workers, we are more positive people generally as a rule. We have more positive thoughts. Our vibrations are higher. Our frequency is more measurable. So what that means is people of a lower vibration with a lower frequency tune into that. They feel that subconsciously or consciously. And people who are of a more negative disposition, inside them is a light that really wants to shine. You know, we all have that divine source within us and that light within us. And where people have let it get dim and drained and are not shining their light, there's a soul in there that really wants that. So it will seek you out and it will attach to you because it wants a bit of what you've got. So that's why we tend to have more experiences with these people than kind of the people who are positive but not serving the light worker purpose, if that makes sense. So we are beacons to these people. They sniff us out. And that's why it's really important that we understand what the energy vampire is and what they're doing so that we can protect ourselves, because it's not their right to harness our energy. It's ours. You wouldn't let somebody pick up your cup of coffee and just start drinking it, would you? No. You wouldn't let someone connect to your Wi-Fi from outside your house and use your data allowance. No. You wouldn't let somebody go into your purse or your wallet and just take out your cash and use it. No, because it's yours. Now your energy is just as much yours as your coffee, your Wi-Fi and your cash. And you really have to start thinking about that. It is nobody else's right to suck your energy or to connect to your energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about energy vampires, and I've put them into 3 categories thanks to the messages that I've been getting from my spiritual support team over the last couple of days. And we'll talk about how we protect ourselves from those different types of energy vampires. So, number 1 is Eeyore. You know, that sad donkey from Winnie the Pooh. Number 2 is the emotional dumper. And number 3 is the narcissist. So I'll start with number 1. Have you ever sat on public transport or stood next to somebody in a queue and just felt exhausted? You have felt their low vibrations and it's impacted on you. They are energy vampire number 1, Eeyore. And even just that quick connection that you've had with them, they've instantly tuned into your energies and attached to it to take some of it for themselves. If that happens in that kind of really random, quick connection, and you've felt it, then at your first available opportunity, you need to go somewhere and quickly cut the cord. If you haven't watched my cutting the cord video and you're not sure how to do that, then I recommend that you do, because there's going to be a lot of talk about cutting cords in this video. So you would need to, so what's happened is they've attached a psychic cord to you and they've drained your energy as a result. So you need to acknowledge who they were. You know, okay, who was I sitting next to? Who did I stand next to? Who did I have a conversation with at the bus stop or whatever? And you'll know exactly who it was. And so you visualize them and you cut the cord with them. Send them away with love and grace, because you can't do anything for them because you haven't got their permission. So by their grace you can send them away with love, and by their grace you can send them away with healing. But that's the limit to what you can do. But cut that cord so that they keep their energy and you keep yours. And then do a bit of wherever you're feeling it. For me, it tends to be in my solar plexus chakra. I'll do a quick, I'll put my hands on my solar plexus chakra and I'll intend it to rebalance, and I'll visualize the nice yellow wheel spinning right in my solar plexus, so I will re-establish and rebalance my chakras, in particular the one that I feel has been affected by them. So and then you get on with your day, and they'll be getting on with theirs. You may also, though, know Eeyores, energy vampires number 1, in your day-to-day life. They may be part of your friendship group, they may be a family member, they may be a work colleague. And you'll recognise these people because they will always counter a positive with a negative. So here's some examples. Oh, you've got a day off tomorrow. What are you doing? Dunno, it'll probably rain. Oh, I really love that top on you. That colour really suits you. Oh, it's only a cheapie from insert budget clothes shop. Oh. You know, they're those people. Oh, you did a really good piece of work there. Thank you. Yeah, whatever. It's them. The people who always counter your positivity with negativity, because whilst that soul inside them is crying out for light, their learned behaviours, their current disposition, their aura is negative. And so they can't help themselves, and your positivity makes them uncomfortable. So unconsciously they're attaching a cord to you to get your energy, because their inner soul is crying out for it, it's deprived of it. Their personality, their human persona is very uncomfortable and has got stuck in a rut and has got stuck in this way of being, and it's become a habit that they can't break. It's not your job to help them break it. It's their job. So they can also be quite passive aggressive and introvert, and you'll find that if you're having conversations with friends or with work colleagues and it's happy conversations, they will always do that yeah but, you know, and bring something negative into that. And the way I try and deal with those people is, if I know that I'm going to be interacting with them, I will supercharge my protection that day. Because these are people also that, particularly if they're work colleagues, you only have to be sat next to them, or, you know, our aura goes up, you know, and around us like 6-7 foot each way. So you only have to be within 7 feet of these people, or 14 feet, because their aura is also 7 meters. You only have to be within 14 meters of these people for them to be able to connect to your energy. So if I know, you know, if I've got somebody in my team that I work with, or if I know I'm going to a function where there's a person like that there, I will supercharge my protection, particularly thinking about that person. And again, the cutting of the cords and videos and other videos, I talk about doing protection, so have a watch of them if you're not sure how to do it. And again, once that interaction or that working day or that function has finished, when I do my natural cleansing that I tend to do at the end of every day, I will specifically think of them and cut the cords with them, and again send them away by their grace with love and their healing, so that they can keep their energy and I can keep mine. And plan for those conversations. And it's okay to say to something, and I have done this, is say to people, I'm finding your contribution to this conversation quite negative and it's not constructive. Is there something you can do about that? That right puts them off. Because they have to be told, and they have to be disconnected from. Like I said, they do not have a right to your energy, and they do not have a right to bring you down. But it is not your job to fix them. If you keep trying to fix them, you will enable their behaviour, which means they will continue to benefit from it, and they'll never have that epiphany moment of, I need to turn my frown upside down. So in essence, you're not helping them by constantly pussyfooting around them or constantly trying to cheer them up. So that's energy vampire number 1. Energy vampire number 2, the emotional dumper. Dare you to tell me you've never met one of these people, because I know you have. They're the people again, work colleagues, friends, family, and the conversation's always about them and how terrible stuff is, how tragic life is, and sometimes it is, but there's two real standout features of these people, because we all go through stuff and we want to talk to our friends and our families about it, and we want support and we want comfort and we want advice. That's not being an energy vampire or an emotional dumper if you are seeking support, and the person you're getting support from is in an emotional place themselves to be able to give it to you. And if that person needs it again in the future, you would give it back. So that's not being an emotional dumper. The emotional dumper is the person that never asks you how you are, never has a conversation with you that's about anything other than themselves, and fails completely to understand how their actions and their behaviours have contributed to the situation they're in. So a lot of these people will have had difficult upbringings, or they will have experienced something tragic or traumatic, but they've got stuck in it. Not your job to pull them out of it. So there are also people who, same with energy vampire number 1, Eeyore, will have learned behaviours from this life, karmic behaviours from previous lives that they're supposed to be dealing with in this life but for whatever reason aren't, but also ancestral patterns that are playing out that they haven't recognised and aren't willing at the moment to do anything about. There's the rub, not willing. So nothing you can do is going to change that. So, like energy vampire number 1, you may feel as a light worker, as a sensitive person, as an empath who can feel what they're feeling, that it is your job to help them and make them feel better. But by doing that, by constantly giving them your time and listening to the emotional dump and taking it all on and feeling drained and awful afterwards, by doing that, you are again enabling their behaviour. They're not going to break the karmic pattern, they're not going to break the ancestral pattern, and they're not going to break the learned behaviours from this life if you do that, if you fix them all of the time. All that's going to happen is you're going to get drained and you're going to feel like crap every time you have an interaction with that person and for a period of time afterwards. So again, it's not your job. And I know it feels counterintuitive because our job is to spread light and make people happy and bring positivity to the world. But know your limits, our limits, and know when that person is not ready to listen to you. All they're doing is attaching a cord and sucking you dry. That is all they are doing. They do not have permission to do that, and they do not have a right to do that. That is the easy option, and they're not going to break any cycles by doing that. So do not let them do it, because you're actually hindering their process rather than helping it. And again, with those people, if you can detach them from your life, you know, if you don't have to be around those people, then don't be available. Just don't. Just, move on from them. Let them go from your life and cut them off. If you do have to have them in your life because you have to work with them, or they're a family member, or, they're part of a friendship group that's bigger than that, again, the same applies to energy vampire number 1. It's supercharge your protection. It's plan for those conversations. These people are also master manipulators, not quite as master as energy vampire number 3, because they tend to do it more subconsciously than consciously. But they can manipulate. They use passive aggression, they use gaslighting to manipulate you to be there for them in the way that they want you to be, which is, like I said, the easy way, the way that comforts them, the way that completely opens up your aura and allows them in so that they can suck everything up from it, all the positivity, and then they walk away feeling a bit better and you walk away like on your knees. So supercharge your protection, definitely wear your crystals. Even aura sprays. I've taken aura sprays to places and sprayed them before the person's arrived. That's okay to do that. Why not? You know, and plan for those conversations. You know, you have a gift of intuition. So if you're going to have a difficult conversation with one of those people, whether it's in a working relationship, or you know that they're going to be somewhere and they're going to just vomit emotionally all over you, then you can plan for that, and see where the manipulation is coming. And when they stop them. You can say, this conversation isn't heading in a constructive direction, so I'm going to stop it. Or all you're doing is bringing problems. Can you think of any solutions? That's if you have to have that conversation. If you don't, then don't bother. If somebody keeps phoning you to tell you how awful things are, pick up the phone and say, I'm not prepared to have this conversation with you right now. I love you. I wish the best for you, but this is on you. This is on you to deal with. They're not going to like it, but that's not your problem. If you really want them to go away, just act all spiritually weird and say, you're my... And again, I've done this. And it works because they're like, oh, weirdo, I'm not talking to her anymore. It's saying things like, your vibrations are really low and they're affecting me, so I'm going to send you away with love. I'm going to stop this conversation and I'm just going to go away and cleanse my aura from you, but thanks. And that has a really positive effect in protecting your own self. Because, again, why should you take all of their emotional baggage? It's not yours, it's theirs. They are the ones that have to deal with it. They are the ones that have to figure out how they're going to let go from whatever it is that's causing that low vibration, and figure out how to raise their vibration. If they're not listening, if you try to tell them that and they don't listen, it's down to them. Don't keep trying. It's not your job. Energy vampire number 3, the narcissist. So, energy vampires number 1 and 2, I believe, and from the information I've been given spiritually, can become energy vampire number 3. And that's why when I'm saying it's not your job, you're actually not helping them, is because if they keep benefiting from their behaviour, if they keep getting free energy and they keep having people bend to their whims, because it's easier to do that rather than just get like grumpy, crappy attitude back, then they will keep doing it, and it will get worse and worse and worse until they develop into energy vampire number 3, the narcissist. So by trying to always help them and by letting them suck your energy, you are potentially creating a narcissist. I also believe people can be born narcissists, and I know, I'm not going to pretend to be a psychologist, but there is a personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. So it is something that people get diagnosed with, so to speak. But it's deeper than a personality disorder. It's spiritual. And I believe people are born as narcissists as well. And one of the reasons they're born as narcissists is because their previous lives, their experiences and their spiritual refusal to abide by their soul contract means they keep coming back as narcissists. And let's be honest, if we allow them to, they benefit massively from being a narcissist. And also, before I go into it, we often view a narcissist as a man. We see it as a male trait. There are just as many narcissistic women as there are men, but I think because women are more likely to talk about experiences of relationships with narcissists, it's become a bit of a assumption that it's only guys, but I feel that guys are probably less likely to share an experience with a narcissistic woman, whether it be their mother, their sister, or a partner, because it's seen as unmasculine. It demasculates them. So we really need to know that a woman can be a narcissist as much as a man, and probably way more manipulative with it. So narcissists are very charming. They're very sociable. They excel in, social situations. They're often very entrepreneurial because they're charismatic, and they can carry this persona off as long as it takes to hook you. Because, like I said, they're low frequency, whilst they may act at a high frequency, on a soul level, they're at a very low frequency. And they can seek you out and sniff you out. See, like a vampire can sniff out blood. And they can attach you. But they don't want just that psychic cord that every now and then, has a little slurp on your energy. They want you theirs all the time. They will see you as their property, and they will see it as their right to take your energy and to use you. They're very controlling, and they're very coercive. They're very possessive. They will see you as theirs, not as a human in your own right, not as a soul in your own right, but somebody who's there to benefit them. The world around them is there to benefit them. The people around them, who they choose very carefully, are there to benefit them. Now, the big difference between energy vampire number 3, the narcissist, and the other two, Eeyore and emotional dumper, is that they are choosing to do it. They know exactly what they are doing because they've had life after life after life of building that skill. Because all it took was one life where, for whatever reason, survival of the fittest or whatever, they benefited. Regardless of what they've learned in the in-between before coming back and signing up to a soul contract of, I'm going to beat this time, as soon as they start behaving in a narcissistic way, they start to benefit. Therefore, their soul contract has gone out of the window. I also believe that empaths, will come back in a soul group with these narcissists because the cycle has to be broken. So people that have relationships with narcissists in this life, empaths who have relationships with narcissists in this life, will have fallen so hard because they've come back, they've reincarnated back as a soul group with the sole purpose of breaking that cycle. Now, here's the thing. The narcissist is not going to be the one that breaks that cycle. Why would they? They've got you all to themselves. They don't have to work on their own energy because they can just use yours. You're finding yourself doing everything for them. You're the one that's apologising for anything that goes wrong. You're the one that's taking responsibility for anything that doesn't work out quite right. And there they are, sitting on their ivory throne, being all, I'm brilliant. That everything is your fault. They will destroy your confidence. They will disconnect you from anybody that's a risk to them. And they will control and coerce every action of your life because they need to keep you. So the person who's got to break the cycle is the empath, is the light worker. Because you're not going to be happy. You're not going to meet your soul contract. You're not going to serve your purpose if you stay anywhere near that person. So you have to break the cycle. And that is hard because a lot of the time we are in relationships with these people that we can't avoid. We will work with them. We don't always come back in soul groups as family members or lovers. We can come back at, people can be put in your line of work. The universe can bring you back in your line of work for you to have to deal with that person. And you have to be really strong. And when you find that you're coming home from work and all you're thinking about is that person, you're giving them your energy. Every thought you have about that person gives that person energy. They're loving it. They'll keep doing what they're doing to press your buttons, because every time they do, you're giving them a big gift wrap box of your light. So stop doing that. Challenge them back. Your behaviour is inappropriate. I'm not going to do that for you. And when you're not with them, cut the cord. When they think of you, you'll think of them, unless you cut that cord, because that's how they're sucking your energy. They know exactly what they're doing. They use emotions as weapons. Guilt, massively. That is a massive one that they'll use, particularly in the workplace. They will try and make you look like you're the abuser, or you look like you're the controlling one. They'll try and rally people around them, and because they're charismatic, they will. You've got to rise above that. Don't take it personally. Be strong. Keep challenging back their behaviours, and every time you're with them and you leave them, cut the cord. Every time you think of them, cut the cord. Supercharge your protection. Call on Archangel Michael every single time that you're in an interaction or having a thought about that person. Get your, call upon your guardian angel to protect you from that person all of the time, and keep cutting the cords and re-establishing your aura. And wherever you're feeling the attack happen, balance it. It will be one of your chakras. Balance it. If you're in a family relationship again with them, it's just, I guess, spending as little time with them as possible, and challenging them back as well, and don't do everything that they want you to do. And if they try and make you feel bad about it, they try and put guilt on you about it, they try and bring back things you've done in the past that weren't very good, ignore it. Let that bounce right off you. It's their attempt at control. More often than not, the people that I see are in or have been in intimate relationships with people like that, and they've fallen hard in love with them until they've realised, what impact this is having on them as a spiritual person and as a human, and the impact it's having on them, living a purposeful, happy life. And again, it's in intimate relationships, narcissists will often use sex as a weapon and intimacy as a weapon. They'll withhold it. They'll withhold affection. And as light workers and empaths, we thrive on affection. We thrive on contact and discussion and, all of those things. And they will let us have it when we're good and not let us have it when we're bad. Sulkers. Massive sulkers. So they will use that as a weapon to keep you, to hold you. They'll push you away. They'll know the pain and the isolation you're feeling, because they've probably isolated you from others as well. And everyone else loves them. How can you pick up the phone and say, they're really being an arrogant sod today, and this is what they've done and that's what they've done? Because people were like, what, them? Shut up. Because they're master foolers. And they're fantastic judges of characters. So, and when they want to draw you back in, they'll start with the affection again. They will never apologise either. You're the one that will have to apologise to get back in, to get that affection again, and to get that intimacy again. you'll be the one that has to apologise and take responsibility, and they'll forgive and make you feel nice and fluffy again. It's so insidious. And when you start to tackle it, when the veil comes off and the light bulb goes on and you think, hang on, I'm completely being gaslighted here, completely being controlled in here, this person is a narcissist, and you start to tackle it, wait for the tantrums will be untold. Days of sulking, crying, shouting, how can you do this to me? Don't you know how much I've done for you? You wouldn't be where you are today if it wasn't for me. Don't you know the sacrifices I've made for you? Like, I'm getting angry just thinking about it, because these people are there. There's lots of them, but there's lots of them because we're not tackling them. We are letting them get away with it. So again, if you are in it, if you recognise that you're in one of these relationships, you have to get out. You have to break the cycle. You have to get out. No matter how much you think that you might love them, and you do love them, there is somebody out there for you way better. And your soul contract is to break the cycle, because they're not going to. So you have to, whatever it takes, selling a house, anything, like moving back in with your parents or a friend, you have to separate yourself from them. Oftentimes people have got children with these people, and again, that is a very challenging thing, because they will use your children as well to get you, and you are going to need so much support. But as soon as you ask for it, as soon as you recognise that you need help from your spiritual support team, watch how they just surround you with love and energy and support, and they will bring other people into your life that are going to help you tackle this issue, to get out of this relationship. It is a dangerous relationship. They are often violent relationships as well. More often than not, rather than physically violent, they're psychologically abusive. So you ask for help. Universe, I am ready to break the cycle. Thank you for assisting me to break this cycle. Thank you for bringing people to me that are going to help me break this cycle. Thank you for protecting my children as I break this cycle. Thank you for protecting me and my other loved ones while I break this cycle. And you, again, it's constantly cutting the cords. It's constantly protecting your aura. You know, it's all of your spiritual support team with you all of the time to remove yourself from that situation. And eventually you will feel that detachment. You will know that it's gone. It could take years, but it's gone. And do not beat yourself up for allowing yourself to fall into that. It was never your fault. Someone's banging, sorry. So it's been part of your journey. It was never designed to be part of your journey. You didn't come back and agree to do it, but it happened because the cycle wasn't broken. If you stay with that person, or if it's work or family or a friend or a different type of relationship, if you allow their behaviours to continue and again pussyfoot around them and just cave in all the time, you are not only hindering your own spiritual ascension and progression, you are hindering theirs. Because once that cycle has been broken, they can get back to their soul contract. And again, that might not be in this life. They might carry out the rest of this life miserable and on their own and constantly trying to get you back, or they've sniffed out the next one and they'll shove them in your face. Look at my new best friend. Oh, I've got a new manager now. Aren't they fantastic? Oh, look at my new boyfriend and girlfriend. Oh, God, I'd rather waste my time with you. You know, you'll get all that. They'll prance all these people in front of you. But who cares? Again, now they've got to break the cycle. So in terms of your incarnations, once you remove, that's it now, that's job done. You've broken the cycle for you. You can carry on with your soul progression. They can, if they choose, to carry on with theirs. Not your job to fix them. So that, I told you it's going to be a long one, but it's so important. And I may not have spoken about those people with much love in my tone, because I do see them in my day-to-day life, and I see them with clients, and I feel, the energetic impact that they've had on these people, and I do think, how dare they? But it is what it is. They are who they are. The reason is the reason. And if we can recognise these people, avoid these people, not seek them out, like a lighthouse doesn't run around the shore looking for ships to save. It just stands there and shines. And the ships that need it and use it do so and move on, and the ones that ignore it sink. Nothing you can do about that. So stand there and shine, and don't let anybody ever take your energy, with or without permission, because even when we're helping somebody with, a non-energy vampire with permission, it's a two-way relationship. It's give and receive. It must always be give and receive. So never just let anybody take. You are better than that. You are way more worthy than that. That is not why you were put on this planet with these gifts, to just give, 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 give. You were put on this planet to serve a purpose and be wonderful and be happy. So these people need to figure out their own shit, basically, and they need to fix it for themselves. And in order to help them do that, you need to break the cycle of your connection, your spiritual connection with them. So I'm going to stop talking now, because I've gone on for quite a long time. It is a complicated subject, and it's a really emotive subject, because even if you haven't had personal, impactful relationships with these people, you will know people and you will love people who have, and as an empath you will have gone through that journey with them. So it is something as light workers we really need to be aware of and alert to. And it's not just okay to protect your energy and keep it for yourself and to choose where you put it. It's an absolute must. So I hope you found that helpful. It's probably quite a lot of stuff rattling around your brain now. If you are in a relationship with somebody like that and it is controlling and coercive, then I do implore you, wherever you are in the world, to look for your local domestic abuse support services, because it is domestic abuse. Whether you're a male or a female, whether you're in a same-sex, opposite-sex relationship, it is domestic abuse, and there is help out there for you. So I do implore you to seek out that help. Those people aren't necessarily going to understand the terms empaths and energy vampires, but they know what control and coercion is. So, and they know what psychological or financial abuse is, because that's another trick that they'll use to keep you. You won't have any financial freedom, so it's more difficult to you. There are agencies out there that can help you if you've got children going through a breakup with one of these people. So please do reach out. Reach out to your spiritual support team, reach out to your human support team, but also reach out to the services that are there available to help you to cleanly and safely get yourself back in a position where your light is your light. Love and light to you all, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks for August's Lightworker reading. Take care.